I'm Danielle and I've been coming here since 2014, so I'm going on 4 years. I started coming because I had finished my breast cancer treatment and I was doing fairly well walking and running and doing stuff on my own, but then I was like stalled and I couldn't seem to get rid of the last amount of weight, and I also was lacking a lot of strength. So I went online and by chance I seen Derek's bio and I was impressed that he had been a ball player since he was a young boy and then that he went to school for this. So I decided to make an appointment and talk to him about it. Well, I guess my biggest factor would be that I did have cancer already at 40. So I definitely wanted to do everything not to have that reoccur. So one of the things that I read was that exercise and maintaining a healthy weight would definitely, increase my odds amongst other things. So being here for that fight and for my family is probably my biggest motivator. Future goals. I'm always trying to better my pull-up. It's just one of those things I love to work on because it's hard. And I also want to just continue to build strength and maintain the weight that I'm at because I feel that it's a healthy weight and I just want to look good too. My biggest success, there's a couple. I think the first thing was actually being able to come in and talk to Derek. It's hard as a woman to go through breast cancer and all the treatment and to be able to have expressed myself and tell Derek that I felt I was deformed and I wanted every other part of my body to look strong. I didn't want to be noticed for what I went through. I didn't want people to look at me and see what was deformed or what I thought was deformed or not normal. So that was a huge thing to tell him that. The second thing is probably my legs. One of the hardest days of my life was I was in JCPenney's and I was looking at t-shirts and I dropped one and I went to go pick it up and I realized that I wasn't going to get up. I couldn't. I almost had to go on all fours, hold on to a display and pull up because my legs were so bad. At 40, that was a hard thing to realize, and so my legs are strong now. My legs look strong, and that to me is huge. I'm just so happy about that. Well, struggles, I guess, would be I'm always trying to do a pull-up still, and that's okay. And then, I set goals for weight, and maybe I don't make them, and maybe my food isn't always on point. But through every failure, I do switch up one thing, I do learn one thing, and then if I have to do it again, I do it again and improve a different aspect of it. I always pick a saying, something to say to myself, so if I'm working out or if something's hard, I would pick a saying. In the beginning, my saying was, keep going. Like, when I felt like quitting, I would just have to say to myself, keep going. I wrote that places, I had it a bunch of places. I would always say that to myself. Another thing for me is looking at other beautiful women. So a lot of times it always has to be front and center for me. So sometimes before bed, I would go on social media and I'd look at beautiful women and I'd always think that the body will follow the mind. So for me, it was visual. And music. I just love music. It always helps me to push forward. I always look for new music. Sometimes it's Christian music, sometimes it's rap, it's just dance music. It could be anything, but I think switching up the music helps. I think that at times things seem hopeless, and sometimes you think it's never going to change. Sometimes I would go along and I looked good, then I would go along and it seemed like, oh, I look worse now. But I noticed that the times when I wanted to quit and I pushed, then all of a sudden I seen change. And to me, that was really amazing. So I would say to just keep going, pull it out of yourself, look at other people who are working out. I'm so inspired by people just starting, and I'm so inspired by people who are, I think, phenomenal looking already.